Please pick up. 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 Oh, Dimitar, Mr. Berbatov. I just wondered if you would fancy coming on my show. I work for Stretford Paddock. My name's Joe.
Who is it?
Joe Smith.
Who's Joe Smith?
No, me. That's me. I just wonder if you would be happy to come on my show tonight. I do a show every Friday night where I get, have some news and some stories, and I think it'd be really good if you...
No.
Well, no, I know that maybe you don't fancy it, but I just thought that...
Fuck off.
Hello and welcome to Late Night Live. My name is Joe. We are here tonight with all the news, transfer news. We've got all sorts of news, ins, outs, what's going on. Dimitar Berbatov was contacted. Why do they always say no? Honestly, why do they always say no? But in all seriousness, we will have a full interview with Dimitar Berbatov out tomorrow. For God's sake, I thought I had him. He was there. I asked him to come on tonight. And what was it? What did he say? He said fuck off is what he said. If we can just get that, can we just do him saying fuck off? That'd be great. What did he say?
Fuck off.
Unreal. Absolutely unreal. Dimitar Berbatov, of all people, telling me to fuck off. Tonight then, like I said, we're going to be looking at Man United's absolute shambolic transfer window so far. That's ins, that's outs. I'm also going to be looking at a little story that apparently Subway don't serve their food on bread. I know that they're meant to be called sandwiches, but it's not bread. Ireland have made a law where, technically, Subway sandwiches are not served on bread. So for tonight, I would like your bread/cake, so either bread or cake, and football puns. So you can have, for a referee, you could have Mark Battenberg. You could have, Milan Brioche as your striker. That's what I'm saying. Bread or cake, because that's what the debate is. Is Subway served on bread or cake? So I want your bread or cake puns. That's all I'm asking for tonight as we go through tonight's show, and I'll be filling in my bread/cake starting 11. Again, Milan Brioche as your striker, referee Mark Battenberg, courtesy of Alex. Joachim Loaf, we've got him already. There's your manager, let's get him in. Joachim Loaf. Right, let's get into some stories. We've got the Bread Devils. It works. Bread Devils team. Bread. I'm going to write these down myself tonight. Devils. Tonight's show, by the way, I forgot to mention, is sponsored by cans. Of all nights. We really need them, don't we? We've got, 3 days left in the transfer market? And are we a shambles? Good question. Are we a shambles? Yes, we are a shambles. We are an absolute shambles. Adil Ducati with the super chat says, Joe, if I make a pun every day for a year, would it cause a pandemic? Only if people around the world decided to do those puns with you. But, keep going. We've got Paul Scones in midfield, Francis Jaffa, I guess instead of Francis Jeffers, Ryan Shaw croissant, and that he's going straight in, because that's very good. Who's that? Lou115. Oh, Ryan Shaw croissant. I mean, I'm upset tonight, to be honest, but this is starting off with a bang. Kingsmill Coman, that is brilliant. Who's that? Miles Doran, Kingsmill Coman. Oh my God, that's one of my favourite ever. Kingsmill Coman, we're on to a winner tonight, boys. Van der Tart, Mishi Bapshwai. We've got Nani instead of Nanny. Subtle, but very good. A couple more. Luke Shortbread. And we've also got Ryan Figs. Figs not really a bread or a cake, but I suppose you can have figgy pudding, can't you? What's the puns, Mark? It's bread or cake puns, because apparently Subway have declared, or the government in Ireland have declared, that Subway can't legally call what they put their sandwiches on bread because there's too much sugar in it. And I tell you what Berbatov would say, if you rang him and said, oi, they're saying that it's not even bread that they serve on Subway sandwiches anymore, he'd tell you to...
Fuck off.
Simple as that, lads. Right, let's get into our first story tonight then. And it's, basically, we're looking at Jadon Sancho, we're looking at Alex Telles. Are Manchester United a shambles in the transfer window? Well, according to Fabrizio Romano, he was quoting Michel Zorc, who is the Dortmund sporting director. He said, of course we communicated with Man United in the past, but everything there is to tell on this matter from our end has already been said, and that won't change over the next few days. Now that's essentially conceding that He's told Manchester United, it's 120 million or go and scoff your mum's dinner. And United have gone, what about 90? No. What about 70? No. What about 60 plus 80 add-ons? No. He's basically saying there, we've told you what we want. If you're not going to pay it, jog right on. And it looks as though United currently aren't going to be paying it now. Here's something that's exciting me a little bit. Not exciting me, but they're a little bit of solace in what has otherwise been a corridor of pain, is we've had a couple of journalists speaking out against the ownership or against the way that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been treated. James Ducker of The Telegraph, I'm sure a lot of you know him, he wrote an article where he said football went into lockdown for months, affording United additional time to plan. This window has been open for 10 weeks, yet Solskjaer finds himself still waiting for the club to adequately back him, while Chelsea, Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Spurs and Everton have all retooled. Staggering. He then goes on to say, actually, I say staggering, it's not. It's the summer of 2018 all over again. Perhaps they'll pull a rabbit out of the hat, but if they do pay for Sancho, now that begs the question, what on earth have they been doing for all this time? And it's very unusual to see someone like James Ducker, who is essentially one of those journalists that gets the reports from Woodward, gets the sort of the inside track from Woodward, coming out and indirectly accusing the ownership and the board of not backing Solskjaer sufficiently. We've also had James Robson, who works for The Standard. He said, to be clear, this is absolutely not Solskjaer's fault. It's a depressing and utterly predictable pattern in transfer windows for Manchester United. It's really not good at all. And as we keep seeing everywhere, this finally seems to be this sort of the slight turning of the wheel. The ship is just directing itself more toward the owners than the manager, which is where it was pointing 2 years ago. I just think that there are enough people turning the wheel, cranking the crank, where people are starting to sort of realise, regardless of who Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is, even if he was the best manager in the world, which we don't know he isn't, although we assume he isn't because he hasn't won that much, even if he was the best manager in the world, we would be seeing the same pattern that repeated itself 2 years ago under the directorship, the tutelage of Jose Mourinho when he was in charge. So, you know, it's not surprising, as he says there. He says it's staggering. Actually, it's not. It's the summer of 2018 all over again. And to be honest, I was annoyed on the podcast before. If you haven't checked that out, check out the Devils podcast here on Stretford Paddock. I was annoyed before, and I'm still annoyed. There's still a bit of me that holds out some hope that we might sign Jadon Sancho. Now, call me what? Stupid? Certainly stupid. Maybe idiotic. But I still think there's a chance. Let me get some of your puns before we move on then. James Rocky Rodriguez, that's not bad at all. Again, we want your cake, bread, football puns. So we've got Where's Brown Bread? We've got Luca Yo Victoria Sponge. That's pretty good. Someone saying that Mane has COVID. I wish him the best. Hope he recovers very quickly. We've got Thomas Tarty. He's going in the central midfield. Thomas Tarty. Up front, Brian Eclair. I mean, technically it's not a cake or a bread, it's a pastry, but I still enjoy it. Who else we got in there? Berber Toast, not bad, he should be in there just because of the intro tonight. Angel de Tortilla, which is pretty good. Bakery Sanya, that's lovely because he encompasses basically anywhere that a cake or bread can be made. Bakery Sanya, very nice there. Usman Do Mbele, not bad. Francesco Biscotti instead of Totti. What else we got? We got Cristiano Ronaldo, spelt D-O-U-G-H. We've got Danny Welbeck's cake. That's pretty good. Fred Velvet, straight in. Fred Velvet would be a great nickname if you're a real smooth mover on the dance floor, wouldn't it? They call me Fred Velvet. Now watch this. Straight into the splitters. Right, move on to our next story then. And this is that Amazon has removed a distasteful coronavirus mask from Halloween for sale. Halloween masks made to look like the COVID-19 virus have been pulled from sale after complaints that they made light of a killer disease. Now, is there any denying that they make light of a killer disease? No, there is not. The masks in bright green with red and grinning faces have been advertised on Amazon for $14.59, which is ironically the year the plague came back for its second wave. They were listed for sale from Guangdong, China, with the title Coronavirus Halloween Mask. I mean, you see it. You see where we're going with this, don't you? Rachel Power, Chief Executive of Patients Association, said these show a terrible lapse in judgment by the manufacturers and sellers. I hope they'll be removed from sale quickly. Now, Amazon, I would say maybe has done the right thing in removing these distasteful Halloween masks, but it does draw to attention what they don't remove from their website. I had a little look on Amazon earlier, and when it comes to distasteful or potentially making light of deadly things in a mask form, you would think they wouldn't sell this, for instance. That there, for those of you who don't know, is the leader of the former Soviet Union, Joseph Stalin, who was responsible for anywhere between 6 and 16 million deaths. You also think they probably wouldn't sell, if you think, for instance, that maybe Stalin, that's an old, that's years gone by, that was the 20s, the roaring 20s when he was in power, maybe after a little time away, you're allowed to have a Halloween mask. All right, what about this guy? How is this one being sold on Amazon? And I'll be honest, the reviews are startlingly good. Apparently the fabric isn't ideal and it doesn't come with the bomb, but other than that, it's very much an accurate replica. They're quite happy to sell that. And if you think that's bad, do I even need to say anything? Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Joe, maybe people just need a Charlie Chaplin moustache. Well, if you read the reviews, there are much bigger fans of Germany in the 1930s than they are America. I can tell you that much. Disgusting. Get that picture off my screen. Get it off! Our next story tonight then. Before we get to that, let me go through a few more of your puns. Again, I'm looking for your bread and cake puns tonight. Bacon, Sancho. We don't need to spam that. We don't need to keep spamming it. I'm just gonna put you in a timeout because you've said it too many times. And that's fair enough, but we don't need to spam. This is an open book here. We all get our chance. We all get our turn. Donny van der Beek. It works. Van der Sourdough. I don't know if that's meant to be. Van der Gouw? Hey, did you say fuck off then? You did. Good lad. Alex is here with me tonight. Lemon Van der Drizzle Cake. We've got Mr. Kiplingard. That's very good, Notch. That's the midfield sorted. I need a couple of centre-backs. I need one centre-back, a left-back, and a right-winger. These always fill up so fast. And a goalkeeper. Mr. Kiplingard. All right, let me write that down. There we go. Victor Lindelof. Bacon Bappe. Bacon Bap. Right, you're in. Bacon Bappe. Lovely. Killian. I'd kill you for a bit, Bacon Bappe. Right, we just need a centre-back, a goalkeeper, and a left-back. Keep those coming in as we move on to our next story. And this one is an absolute... Well, someone's hit a bum note, let's be honest. Scott's mum gets Greg's logo tattooed on her bum after missing it so much during lockdown. Caitlin Jones couldn't contain her excitement when the baked goods chain reopened not 7 weeks ago. Scott's mum missed Greg so much during lockdown that she got a tattoo of the logo on her behind, ladies and gentlemen. Again, the mum of three booked herself to get inked at the first available opportunity on September the 14th. Caitlin from Paisley said cruel jibes from online followers. She has no regrets over the unusual body art. Despite those cruel jibes. The hairdressing student said, I'm obsessed with Greg's and I've always loved their sausage rolls. Before lockdown, I used to get one nearly every day, so I was gutted when they closed for lockdown. I was more bothered about Greg's reopening than the pubs, so when I decided to get the tattoo parlour reopened and I went to get something that could show my love for them. Most people love it and think it's hilarious. The tattoo artist said to me he was buzzing to do it. And other people have said it's iconic and that I'm a legend. I think those people are flaky at best. No pastry puns intended. Now, here's the thing for me. Imagine as Dimitar Berbatov flies past in the Super Chat. Thank you very much, United's non-Mancunians on the Super Chat there. Imagine the confidence, the sheer bare-faced or bare-cheeked, in this instance, confidence that you have to have the words, always fresh, always tasty, within sniffing distance of your own genitals. How confident do you have to be that they will be spick and span at a moment's notice? Because if someone's down there and it ain't fresh and it ain't tasty, you've got real problems on your hands. Absolutely despicable. Great tattoo, bad location. That's all I'll say. Although maybe good location, because if you've got to get a cheek out, you're halfway there, aren't you? Right, let's move on to our next story, for God's sake. And before we do that, I'm going to come back in again. I need a goalkeeper, a centre-back and a left-back. Let's get one more now. We've got Wes.
Honourable mention to Angel de Mary Berry.
Honourable mention to Angel de Mary Berry. Mary Berry, very nice. Rio Ferdinand, Brad, not bad. What else have we got? Matthew Panini instead of Matthew Flamini. Bap Stam, he's in. Bap Stam, very nice. What else we got? Henning Battenberg, it works. Alfonso Hovis, it's close, but it's not quite there. Fabian Baptez, we need a left back and a goalkeeper. That's all I need. Get your left backs and your goalies in. And we could maybe do with a stadium as well if you want one. But before that, let's have a little look at Manchester United's outgoings tonight. Because Fabrizio Romano has tweeted, AC Milan are closing on the deal to sign Diogo Dalot from Manchester United. Manchester United are now open to accept a simple loan with no buy option to have Dalot back next June. Talks are in final stages. AC Milan are leading the race over Roma right now. Now, if you think that giving Diogo Dalot away for a year just to take his wages off the books, then I think is a good idea, then I think you should
Fuck off.
Jesus Christ, I almost lost it then. For me, I just don't understand it. We've got one right back, we've got one left back, or we've got two left backs, We've got one right back, if this goes. I don't understand. I mean, I know Timothy Fosu meant to come back in the squad a little bit and he's playing some games, but he's played 2 games or 3 games in 3 years. How can you rely on him for a full season if Wan-Bissaka gets injured? I just think that if he's going to go, he's got to be permanent, surely. Surely you can get 20 million quid for someone like Diogo Dalot, who's a promising young right back. I know that's what we paid for him, but the market's inflated since then. Simple loan option with no option to buy. So even if he's brilliant, there's no option to buy there. We're going to have to renegotiate again at the end of the 12 months, like we're having to do with Chris Smalling, which we'll get to in a moment. That deal looks like it may well be off. I was all happy before talking about Gregsy bums and Starling face masks and that. Now look at us, back in the doldrums of transfer hell. At least, on a positive note, it's good for Diogo Dalot, I suppose. He gets to have a chance to play some football this season. He gets a chance to run around for AC Milan, who are a big club, there's no denying that. Chris Smalling, as I was mentioning before, it looks as though those talks have stalled with Roma. This has been a banker all summer. He was there. They know how good he is. They know how much he's worth. We know how much he's worth. I think we can all agree he's probably worth between 12 and 18 million, somewhere in that range. I know that those numbers aren't exactly the same as each other, so if you want to hold that for 18, I get all that. But the idea that we can't get Chris Smalling sold to Roma is an absolute joke. Roma has asked for Diogo Dalot to be included in the Smalling deal, by the way, which again is looking a little bit risky. Roma are asking again for Diogo Dalot on loan. United want to sell him on a permanent deal. So I don't know why we're willing to give him on loan to AC Milan, but not to Roma. You just got to shake your head, haven't you, again? We're struggling to get rid of Smalling. We're getting rid of Pereira, who has been confirmed to be leaving to Lazio on loan, again with a ridiculously high option to buy. So I guess the options are either 27 million option to buy or no option to buy. There's no sort of workable, actually have a chance of it coming off middle ground for United to sit in. It's either he's 27 million, which no one's ever going to pay for Andreas Pereira, or there's no option to buy in Diogo Dalot. So we waste a year of his contract, a year of his career, for the sake of saving probably 50 grand a week. Cheers, another successful summer. First bell of the night, that one. Right, before we move on to our final story, which is the Subway story, which is where the puns have come from tonight. Cake, bread, football puns. It's as simple as that. I'm looking for a centre-back. I'm looking for a left-back. We've got Harry Greggs. That's very good. That's very good. We'll put him at left-back. Harry, because it also links in with another one of our stories tonight. And again, it's technically pastry and not bread or cake, but they do sell cakes and bread at Greggs. Paddy Eclair instead of Paddy McNair. We've got Luke Shortbread. We've already got left back. It's just, hang on a sec. The full team's full. We just need a goalkeeper. It's just a goalkeeper we need now. Oliver Kainan. Kanan, by the way, who sang the Rio, or was it the South Africa World Cup theme tune? Oh, Kanan, ladies and gentlemen. I think that just came off the top of my head. Panatoni Adams, that's very good, Peter. I'm sorry, but we've already got two great centre-backs. But he could be the coach. Let him be the coach. Joachim Löw is out. The new coach. What is he doing on that video? Panatoni Adams, that's really good. Yeah, we just need a goalkeeper. Come on, lads, get us a goalkeeper. Oh, there it is. Danny Bowes in there. I'll come back to that. Let's get the story up then. Subway bread is quite simply not bread, according to an Irish court. Those wrestling with the great culinary philosophical, not philosophical, because that's not anything, is it? Philosophical dilemmas of our time. Are Jaffa Cakes cake, or are they just up themselves biscuits? Is putting chorizo in paella really an act of gastronomic terrorism? And what kind of monster doesn't love Marmite? Can give thanks to the Irish Supreme Court. Earlier this week, it brought clarity to an important, if less bitterly contested debate. In a judgment published on Tuesday, the court ruled that the bread served at Subway, the US chain that hawks giant sandwiches in 110 countries. By the way, I'll have you know that Subway has got the most outlets of any fast food chain in the world. More than McDonald's, more than Burger King, more than you thought. Delow is here we go to AC Milan on loan. Just quick update there. Live updates here at Stretford Paddock. Delow will be going on loan to AC Milan this year. In a judgment published Tuesday, the court ruled that bread served at Subway, the US chain that hawks giant sandwiches in 110 countries and territories, could not in fact be defined as bread because of its high sugar content. The ruling followed an appeal by Bookfinders Limited, Subway's Irish franchisee. The company had argued that the bread used in Subway sandwiches counted as a staple food and was consequently exempt from VAT. However, the court pointed out that Ireland's VAT Act of 1972 draws distinction between staple foods, bread, tea, coffee, cocoa, milk, preparations or extracts of meat and eggs, and more discretionary indulgences such as ice cream, chocolate, pastries, crisps, popcorn and roasted nuts. The clincher was the strict provision that the amount of sugar in bread shall not exceed 2% of the bread's weight of flour included in the dough. Subway's bread, however, contains 5 times as much sugar. Now, what we have learned today is that we have been eating foot-long cakes filled with meat for years, haven't we? Well, you have. I haven't. It's disgusting. The idea of eating... Sorry, I'm spitting. The idea of eating a Subway is absolutely... There's the joke there. Vile to me. I would never eat Subway. Tell you what though, people acting like, oh, there's so much sugar in this. We've basically been eating foot-long cakes, acting like you haven't been eating these for 20 years. There's another joke. Colin the Caterpillar coming in clutch. Right, that's going to be all tonight. Before we go, let's finish off tonight's starting 11. I've quite frankly asked you for your bread and cake puns. Now, here is the starting 11. The manager. It's a shared managerialship because there were 2 great ones tonight. We've got Joachim Löw and we've got Panatoni Adams in the dugout. Now, here's our team. In goal, we've got Peter Schmeichel. Right back, Bakery Sanya, Ryan Shaw-Croissant and Bap Stam at centre-back. Left-back, we've got Harry Greggs. A wonderful central midfield. A tasty, what's the word? Pungent almost, let's be honest, yeasty midfield of Fred Velvet. We've got Thomas Tarty and we've got Jesse Mr. Kip Lingard. That one's a bit of a stretch reading it back, but I got through it. At the right wing, we've got Mbacon Bape. Up front, we've got Brian Eclair. And on the left wing, with one of my favourite puns of all time, Kingsmill Coman. That is our starting 11 tonight. Before we go, Rune Bugan has said David Seaman comes from the morning bread. Bit risky that one, David. Probably shouldn't have read that one out. Thank you very much, though. We're going to be back this weekend for all the coverage of Manchester United against Spurs. And in the build-up to that, we have a full interview with Dimitar Berbatov. You saw him on the intro tonight. He's pied me off, but he's chatting to Stephen Howson tomorrow. So make sure you check that out. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Man United are a shambles in the transfer window. Diogo Dalot is going to AC Milan. We're struggling to get Smalling out. Pereira's gone to Lazio. We can't buy Sancho. Tellez is going to Brazil in 2 days, and if we don't sign him, it's done. But other than that, everything's all right. See you in a bit.